Starting to the bottom left of Last Refuge is HawK, playing human, of course. And to the top right in the Zodiac Dream League quarterfinal game, playing as undead, is EnTe. And you said you were happy with what you're seeing, and what exactly are you referring to?
EnTe is going for a Fiend build, which I think is really cool. It's very underrated in my opinion in most matchups. Like, I think you can do it in every matchup and it's fine. But especially on a map like this, it's really strong as human to go for a Fiend build. I hope he'll play very passively and just kind of ignore HawK. And he might expand, he might not, but I think it's really cool to see.
I don't want to go too far off topic here, but don't you feel that the Fiend build order is especially weak against Night Elf?
Yeah, it's probably the weakest against Night Elf, but if it's a map where there isn't like a huge creep for the Night Elf to take, like if it's I can't think of one now, but maybe Secret Valley or something where there's nothing really big to creep, I think it's really strong to go for Fiend build.
Alright. So EnTe is obviously known for his exceptional Fiend micro, so are basically all the top undeads. Chechi also one of those candidates who pretty much never miss micros as Fiends and relies on his micro to win games.
Yeah.
And
I think most undeads do that. Like, that's kind of how you play undead. You out micro.
Yeah, I would agree with that. So of course the danger here with this Fiend build order is if the human decides to go for an instant expansion, which you can do on Last Refuge, there's nothing you can do about it. But not many humans do this because it kind of hinders your level progress on the Archmage.
I think
HawK didn't even scout this. Maybe is
Exactly.
this kind of the reason why he's going for this, expecting HawK not to scout?
I think it might be very metagame decision making. I think it's really smart because if you're a human player against undead, like, I never scout. I just assume there's going to be a Death Knight coming and then he's going to go Dead Fiends or whatever. So I think it's really smart to go for this. HawK isn't going to scout it in a long time, and this expansion is very late. Like you said, if you scout the Fiend build, you can go for an instant expansion on any map, and then you just apply pressure all game. But in this situation, EnTe is going to be able to creep and tech and maybe even expand. So I think EnTe is going to have a really nice opening.
Yeah. But with HawK now he must have realized that something is unusual because he hasn't seen the Death Knight all this time, and he also looked at the not ogres, the gnolls up here, because you can creep the gnolls here with only the DK. So he looked there and he saw that this camp wasn't taken, so he knows, alright, he doesn't have a DK first, most likely. So his two choices, or his two assumptions now can be either he's going the late Fiend build, the Fiend build order with late hero, or he's expanding himself, and there's an expansion scout with a footman coming right now, and he sees, alright, there's no expansion here, so now HawK knows what EnTe is playing.
Yeah, but I think he's still very nervous. Like, whenever you're in a situation where something unexpected happens, you're always a bit nervous. Like, anything could happen right now. He doesn't really know. There could be a Crypt Lord, there could be a Dread Lord, there could be a Tavern Hero, there could be, you know, whatever.
Yes, alright, I grant that point, but that would be very, very crazy. But in the realm of likely scenarios, I think he's only left with the early Fiend build order.
Yeah. He doesn't have a Cold Tower, which is unfortunate, so he's going to have to run back to deal with this footman. But he's doing the right thing. He's just playing passively. He's going to creep and get level 3, and he already got a really good item on his Death Knight, so his army is kind of invincible at this point.
But that footman got a lot of information. He knows where the undead is right now, knows he's not level 3, so perhaps the undead doesn't want to engage until that level 3, which could give HawK the time to creep the mercenary camp. This camp is pretty hard to take, and if you get creepjacked, it can be painful. So he's not trying to go for this. He's waiting for the undead to arrive, and here EnTe is. And yeah, of course, when you have 4 fiends and a level 2 DK, footmen are kind of just food.
Yeah, and he doesn't have defend yet. HawK doesn't. So EnTe will try to get level 3. I would just focus on Water Mantle, honestly. Once defend is out, to try and get level 3. But he'll probably be able to kill 1 or 2 more footmen before defend is up.
Yeah.
And then level 2 coil is really strong.
And very nicely done by him. He knew with the number of fiends it was going to be very easy for him to kill a few footmen and gather experience, as long as there was no defend, which there was not, but now there is. And he has reached his level 3. Only 2 coils remaining for now, but probably 3 by the time he needs them.
Yeah, and I can consider the fact, what if EnTe had played Standard? He'd maybe have 2 fiends now, and he'd have a level 1 Death Knight. Instead he has 4, and he has level 3. So he's really strong right now.
Of course,
and
his
the
tech
expansion
is very much so delayed compared to the TED build order.
That's true, but I think it's worth it. As long as it, like, I don't think, since HawK didn't scout it, I think this is a very good spot for EnTe. And there are no towers up. And the footmen are dying real fast.
I really like the strategy on this map because of the mercenary camp. I think like on Echo Eyes this would be shit because the mercenary camp is so easily accessible. And with Ogre Maulers and Mud Golems and Priests, this strategy is a lot more easy to deal with. But on Last Refuge, getting these creeps is more difficult. Now he's going for the creep camp, and I think EnTe should anticipate this, but he's going for the towers instead at the moment.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate. But I think on Echo Isles you can probably just counter-expand. Like, you don't have to play this way if you're going for a Fiend build. I think if you go like Crypt Lord Fast Expansion, you can...
Oh my god, Crypt Lord Fast Expansion against human? I don't know, man. I think you need that coil, but well, I guess it's all possible. And yeah, HawK has now finished that mercenary camp. He's gotten two
really good item.
mercenaries, and yeah, he found the Flute of Accuracy. Both races love this item.
Yeah. Not really sure. Like, HawK hasn't even started his tech. EnTe's going to stay tier 2 probably. He'll go for... This is one of those maps where wagon all-ins are really strong because it's so narrow. It's very easy to get a good position as Undead. So, but I mean, at this point, HawK is just so far behind. Ideally, he would almost have tier 2 done by now, but he hasn't even started. And he has to make towers. He can't tech. He has to make more towers.
Yeah, Lich is coming. That obviously increases his strength by a lot. Not Novaing just yet, even though the footmen are all standing on top of each other.
Did he go Frost Armor? No.
No. You can kite the footmen anyway, since they're so slow. I think Frost Armor is pretty much useless.
Yeah, and they can get stolen by breakers later on.
No, you can't steal hero stuff.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. I guess that makes sense.
Right.
Because I think I had a game recently where I went Frost Armor against like Mountain King footmen, and it really helped me out. So I think it's fine to get it if there are a lot of footmen, maybe. But in this case, there's a lot of mercenaries and environmentals, so it's not as good.
All right. So you're saying you see the human being pretty far behind. EnTe is positioning himself here with the skull of sacrificial skull. I mean, pretty far forward one.
Yeah, it's a bit misplaced.
Yeah, I feel so too. And here's a Mud Golem. And before tier 3, this little shit is so good for a human and so annoying for the undead because you just can't deal with the slow. Yeah. And as you said, he's staying tier 2.
So many water metals though. I would probably prefer tier 3 build because of the advantage he had. He could have, like, if you can just add destroyers to this army and this hero level.
Yeah,
I think
also feel
there
like
are no towers
against mercenary camp and Archmage, you almost can't break it on tier 2. Oh, Death Knight's around. He's opening it up again. He has the greater healing. He's using it, but he is in kind of a shitty position here. He could be trapped. But Militia is retreating because the duration has run out, and the Mud Golem is being microed very well. Just used slow and pulled back again over and over. But the statue
really
is doing work. Yeah, he's focusing it now, and he is gonna finally kill it, but not after it had used its, I don't know, 5th slow or so. Level 4 now, so Death Pact, so the DK is no longer in danger. If he gets it.
No, he got level 2.
He got the aura. Okay. I feel like it's always, well, good at the moment and bad in the late game, because I feel you always need the Death Pact. But anyways, going for the Archmage now. He has no mana for Nova. He has 1 coil, but he can't kill the AM with it.
Players' forces are under attack.
Yeah. He has 1 fiend in his base, just standing there. That's unfortunate. Should bring that down because there's no dust, and whenever a human forgets a dust, it's really good for the undead. You can just abuse the burrow so much.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, did he use a dust?
No.
Well, I guess he doesn't have. Does he have burrow? Because
he does have burrow.
He shouldn't have lost any fiends, but he did. So that's a mistake.
Yeah. But he could be like, maybe he didn't even, like, you can sometimes assume that your opponent has a dust even though you don't check it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like he checks the inventory. I mean, it's pretty far up on the list of stuff you just do.
Yeah, that's true. But he's going tier 3. I like that. It's a bit delayed, and he has.
It's really late, man. Does he have only 4 acolytes? No, 2 are repairing. Okay.
I just wish he didn't play this so aggressively, because whenever they have like Archmage first like this, I think if you do a fiend building, you just creep all game. You can get like a high-level Death Knight Lich combo, and they'll get like a high-level Archmage, but that doesn't matter once you have destroyers.
I have to agree here. Like, Archmage and Mercenary Camp, I don't really agree with the choice of applying so much pressure, because that's his strength, man. Like, early game, prowess. That's the Archmage's thing.
Yeah. He's just like the Keeper of the Grove. Like, you use him to get an advantage early, and then when he becomes less useful, you have the advantage, so it's fine.
Yep, good comparison there. Alright, let's
Except he
look at
has
the
the
tech.
aura.
Tier 3 tech is coming for HawK, but he is getting an Arcane Sanctum. So he's feeling the pressure, but I guess not too much pressure. Teching, but still getting double Sanctum. MK is out now, but of course only level 1 MK, so yeah, the hammer is kind of laughable.
Yeah, I just wish, like, if EnTe had just crept a bit, got some good items, and then went for Destroyer push, it'd be so much stronger.
It looks like he's kind of chewing at a defense that he just can't break, and he doesn't want to admit this to himself.
Yeah.
Does
I
he
think
have
it's
level 3
often...
Lich? No. That would also be a big boon, but he's
Exactly.
quite far away from that.
Like, if he creeps a red, maybe he gets, like, the Brilliance Aura, he gets level 3, you know, gets stuff like that. That's the kind of thing Undead needs to turn around this game. But if you're just gonna have a level 2 Lich and some Fiends, I don't think you're gonna do anything.
I don't think it would be too late, because HawK has been forced to invest so much into defense that he hasn't been able to acquire any economic advantage at all so far.
Yeah, exactly. So EnTe really should just creep. He could even counter expand at this point. He's tier 3, but he's breaking already. He's at 51 food with 15 gold. I think that's a big mistake.
No, that looks not so great. Alright, here comes the big militia defense. That's always the time for Undead to run away until the duration has run out. Well, pretty much every race. Oh, nice.
He has
Boro.
backpack on his ghoul. He has an orb and a rod. That's really cool. So he's gonna give the...
Yes.
Unless he gets bolted. That'd be so sad if the ghoul dies.
Dude, that's the most terrible thing ever. It happens to me like so often, and you just want to cry when that happens. I think that should... well, let's not get into stuff that should be changed, because who are we kidding? Anyways, now we have 2 destroyers, and a third one will be here soon, and that marks the time with the orb that the Undead has absolute map control. His army is a billion times stronger.
And all those peasants are just out there. Oh my god. If he saw that, he could have killed all those peasants. There'd be no good for HawK. But look at this. Like, EnTe's gonna win this, I think.
It's only 3 guard towers. Not now. Alright, sorry. Someone was knocking at the door. And yeah, as you said, well, as I said and you said, his army is a lot stronger, and I don't think it's enough towers here. Is this a mistake? Did HawK not get enough towers?
Yeah, that's the difficult part of this match. Like, human against undead, I think it's very human favored, but it's much more difficult for the human to play it correctly. And it's all about the towers. Like, you have to make the perfect amount of towers. If you make too many and they're not aggressive, then you lose. And if you make too few and they are aggressive, then you lose too. But against Fiends, there's no right amount of towers. Like, that's the strength of the Fiend builds, the modern builds, is that you can't really make towers to counter it. You have to defend with units as well.
That's a nice point you're making there. Destroyers are getting pretty low DK, no mana. We have only 2 Spellbreakers with an overwhelming number of Spellbreakers. He may be able to turn this around. He has Paladin 3rd, by the way. Where's the MK? MK is stuck in base, and now he's TPing back to maybe get the MK with another TP. Oh, he tried to staff free the MK, but it didn't work. He's still stuck inside his base. Oh, well, yeah, that's
and the
it
double
for the
farm block.
expansion.
That's unfortunate.
Little bit of, well, macro mistake, I guess, for HawK, because late game you always want to open up your base for cases like this. And now he's forfeited his expansion, so it seemed like EnTe was just not going to be able to break this expo, but he was in time.
Yeah, those destroyers really helped him out. And the 1-0 upgrade is nice as well.
I think either it was a mistake not getting enough towers, or it was a mistake getting tier 3. Like, somewhere along the road.
Yeah, he should have made more breakers before teching. But it's also one of those situations, I think it's always better as human to just be aggressive counter-aggression. If you make a lot of towers and then go right-click the Acolytes, that's much stronger than trying to defend. Because if you defend, you're always losing units, and you're always giving experience, and you're always fighting right by the expansion.
But that was the strength of the strategy. Like, once you hit tier 3, level 3 on the DK, you're just never leaving. Never.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty much the best thing with the strategy. You just don't give the human any time to harass your base.
Yeah. And HawK didn't have any towers, so he had to stay. He had to make sure that he could get some towers up. So it's really good for EnTe.
Yeah, and I mean, you're never supposed to do this as a caster, but this looks pretty damn bad for the human, to say the very least. We have 6 destroyers in the main base, and there are no gyros and nothing to deal with them except like 40 peasants or something, and that never works out. Alright, here we go. Call to arms, because why the fuck not? And
Yeah, just give a bunch of experience.
Bolt is still very ridiculous. Level 5 for the DK. He loses a Fiend, kind of unnecessarily, but it's not going to be too terrible for him. Now HawK is trying to go for the one thing that can still keep him in this game, which is hero focus and hero kill, but the Lich escapes the surround. And now, yeah, oh my god, the nuke on the MK. Only level 1. He falls very easily. But now focus is switched to the Archmage. One more coil will be his demise, but there's no more mana. MK gets staffed in time. Holy Light keeps the Archmage alive, but not for too much longer. Something was transferred, but it was too late. The Archmage dies. And now it's, if not before, now it's easy pickings.
I like how HawK just always keeps playing his best. Like, in this situation, I would just give up, but he keeps fighting. I think that's nice.
Yeah.
And there's the GG.
A player to not easily tilt, but in the end, it did not. He didn't manage to turn it around. So, yeah, we talked quite a bit about this unusual strategy and opening from EnTe, but the more I saw it, it was really nice. Like, as I said, it looked for quite a while like it wasn't gonna work at all, but he kept him busy, hit a timing with a tier 3, which was pretty late, but it was still enough, because he managed to get so many resources out of the human, because he was forced to defend so much. And yeah, EnTe gets the win in the end. Very nice.
Really well played by EnTe. I really like the build order. I really like he played that well from start to finish. And I think, like, I don't know, he might even win this best of 5. Because I think he's playing really well lately. Just the fact that he got out of his group, he had a group with like Sonic and Warchief Rich, and like getting out of that group with Night Elves is really impressive. And he's been streaming a lot, playing a lot, just winning a lot. So I think he might take this best of 5.
I think some frame